Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone, welcome back to day 89 of our 100 days to CAT test series. Now this is the passage for today. In case you want to take this up as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for the 100 days to CAT test series. If you want to follow along with this video, then this will be your first part of the passage. Pause the video here, read these parts of the passage, and then we'll go into the second parts of the passage. These will be the second parts of the passage. Pause the video here, read these parts of the passage, and then we're going to go into the questions of this passage. This is question number 1. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 2. This is question number 2. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 3. Now this question number 3. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 4. Now this is question number 4. This is the last question of the day. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll go into the passage and question explanations. The passage says, American dietitians and members of the medical community have ridiculed low carbohydrate diets as quackery for the past 30 years, while extolling a diet that cuts down on fat, limits meat consumption, and relies on carbohydrates as its staple. So basically, what did these American dietitians and members of the medical community do? They basically said that all the low carbohydrate diets are just some sort of fake. They are ineffective. Let's just say they are ineffective. And instead, what did they praise? They praised diets which are low in fat or meat and they are high in carbs. Right, so many Americans are familiar with the food pyramid promoted by the US government with its foundations of carbohydrates such as breads, rice and pasta, and its apex allotted to fats, oils and sweets. Adhering to the government's anti-fat, pro-carbohydrate gospel almost like a saying from the God itself, food manufacturers have pumped out fat-free grain products that lure consumers with the promise of leaner days. So basically, what do I understand from this part? I understand that the American government had promoted this sort of chart where this part is fats, okay, and this part is carbs. So they wanted people to take carbs a lot and very less fats. Now, adhering to this model, a lot of manufacturers, food manufacturers, have also got out their products which are tempting people to consume them, thinking of healthy days, okay, or losing weight kind of days. That's what the leaner days mean. Then why are Americans getting so fat? Could the dietary recommendations of the last 20 years be wrong? And what's more, could the proponents of diets that push protein and fat be right? So the author is now questioning very critically, why are Americans getting so fat? So if your advice about this is so true, why are people getting fat? Could it be wrong? And could the opposite, where we have low we have high protein, high fat diets, is that the right thing? Okay. Fact, obesity rates have soared throughout the country since 1980s. The United States Centers of Disease Control reports that the number of obese adults has doubled in the last 20 years. The number of obese children and teenagers have almost tripled, increasing 120% among African Americans and Latino children and 50% among white children. The risk for type 2 diabetes, which is associated with obesity, has increased dramatically as well. Disturbingly, the disease now affects 25 to 30% of children compared with 3 to 5% 2 decades ago. So this entire paragraph is full of facts. Okay, he's telling us about how much this problem has been growing. Okay, so this entire paragraph gives me the idea about growing problem of obesity. All right. So what is behind this trend? Supersized portions, cheap fast food and soft drinks combined with sedentary lifestyle of TV watching or internet surfing have most likely contributed to the rapid rise of obesity. So now here he is giving me the causes, okay, to this rapid rise. And what does he say? Supersized portion, that means giving too much for too little cost. Okay, fast food, soft drinks, and then your lifestyle also. You're just watching TV, sitting there, you're not exercising, you're not being mobile. That's all causing rapid rise in obesity. Yet, there might be more to it. Is it a coincidence that the obesity rates increased in the last 20 years, the same time period in which the low-fat dietary doctrine has reigned? Before the 1980s, the conventional wisdom was then that fat and protein created a feeling of satiation, that means satisfaction, so that overeating would be less likely. So basically, what's he saying? He's now again questioning. Okay, another question is being brought in, that okay, is it only these that are actually causing our obesity? Is it only the supersized meals, cheap meals, sedentary lifestyle that's causing obesity? If that is the case, why is it that the obesity rates have increased only in the last 20 years? Exactly the same time when this low fat, low protein kind of diet has been prescribed to us. Okay, before that 1980s, people used to eat a lot of fats and a lot of protein, and they used to somehow stay lean, and the obesity was also not too much. The other diseases also were in check. Now let's go to the next part of the passage. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, were regarded as a recipe for stoutness. So in 1980s, if you ate too much carbs, you would be stout. Stout is fat. That's what they thought. This perception began to change after World War II, when coronary heart disease reached near epidemic proportions among middle-aged men. So around World War II, after World War II, a lot of men started getting, coronary heart disease, some kind of a heart disease. So basically, then this carbohydrate started getting shunned. A theory that dietary fat might increase cholesterol levels and in turn increase the risk of heart disease emerged in 1950s and gained increasing acceptance by the late 1970s. In 1979, the focus of the food guideline promoted by the US Department of Agriculture began to shift away from getting enough nutrients to avoiding excess fat, saturated fat, cholesterol and sodium, the components that are believed to be linked to heart disease. The anti-fat credo was born. So basically, from 50s, when we see that these people were suffering from heart disease, a lot of people were suffering from heart disease, especially middle-aged men, the blame fell on to high-fat diets or high-fat diets which would lead to cholesterol. So the US Department of Agriculture in 1980, after gaining support slowly throughout the 2 decades, it started promoting low-fat diets so that your sodium levels, your cholesterol levels, all the things that would harm your heart, those levels would stay lower. To date, the studies that have tried to link dietary fat to increased risk of coronary heart diseases have remained ambiguous. That means there's no clear resolution, or there's no clear inference from these studies. Studies have shown that cholesterol lowering drugs help reduce the risk of heart disease, but whether a diet low in cholesterol can do the same is still questionable. So we know about the effect of medicines that we take, which reduces cholesterol, and that's why our heart disease stays in check. But if we take the food which produces less cholesterol, which is low in cholesterol, will that have the same effect? We do not know that yet. While nutrition experts are debating whether low-fat, carbohydrate-based diet is the healthiest diet for Americans, nearly all agree that anti-fat message of the last 20 years has been oversimplified. For example, some fats and oils like those found in olive oil and nuts are beneficial to the heart and may deserve a larger proportion in the American diet than their place at the tip of the food pyramid. Likewise, some carbohydrates that form the base of the pyramid, like the refined carbohydrates contained in white bread, pasta, white rice, are metabolized in the body much the same way sweets are. According to one Harvard Medical School researcher, a breakfast of bagel with low-fat cream cheese is metabolically indistinguishable from a bowl of sugar. So basically what is happening over here? Over here we're getting to know that all these nutritionists who have produced or who have prescribed the low-fat, carbohydrate-rich diet, okay, this in a way is kind of failing. This is not actually serving the purpose that it should. And in fact, there are certain fats which are good fats, which actually help in the metabolism of your heart. Those fats also we are reducing. And later we also see that if you're having a high carb diet like a bagel with just low fat cream cheese, that's just indistinguishable. That means your body metabolism thinks of that also as just a bowl of sugar when it is breaking it down. So what about those high fat protein diets that restrict carbohydrates like the popular Atkins diet and others? A small group of nutrition experts within the medical establishment find it hard to ignore that anecdotal evidence that many lose weight successfully over these diets. They're arguing that those diets should not be dismissed out of hand but researched and tested more closely. Still others fear that Americans hungry to find weight loss regimen may embrace a diet that has no long-term data about whether it works or is safe. What's clear is that Americans are waiting answers, and in the meantime we need to eat something. So basically what's he saying? So all those Atkins diets and all, which are high protein, high fat diets, okay, there have been some anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence is, stories that these people, the nutritionists who have prescribed it, they are the ones who say that. Okay, so they are telling that yes, I've seen a patient who has actually lost so much weight just by being on a high protein, high fat diet. But we have to go forward and study them closely instead of just saying that this is hocus pocus, instead of just saying that this does not work. Also, what about the other type of diets which are actually good for Americans? Americans always want a fitness plan or a meal regimen, and if they're not getting that on time, they're bound to eat something. So the author is being extremely ironical. Okay, we're all waiting for answers, but in the middle, what should we do? Don't we need to eat? Now that we're done with the passage, let's go into the questions of this passage. The first question says the passage is primarily concerned with what? So what are we talking about in this passage? Questioning the dietary advice of the past 2 decades. Yes, we are kind of questioning the dietary advice because this forms almost 95% of the passage. Yes. Second one, contrasting theories of good nutrition. Now again, when we're not contrasting, we're not comparing the theories of good nutrition. We're just mentioning that there's other theories also and we don't know which one is correct. So obviously this is not going to be my answer. Third one, displaying the variety of ways one can interpret scientific evidence. Again, we've not seen different ways in which you can interpret scientific evidence anywhere in the passage. It's been very clear that this is a pyramid, this is how you have to look at. Okay, so this is not going to be my answer. Fourth one, debunking the value of diets that restrict carbohydrates. Now again, although it might seem like we want to promote the diets which are not having too much of carbohydrates, but over here if we are looking at the statement debunking the value of diets, we've not been able to sufficiently prove the value of these diets. Okay, we only had some anecdotal evidence and that also came in just 5% of the passage, the last 5% of the passage. Till then, what will we be doing? We were talking about the kind of advice that the US government has given and why that advice has kind of failed. So this will not be my correct answer. This is just a supporting idea and not the main idea. The best possible answer would be 1. Now let's go for the second question. The author cites the example of a breakfast of a bagel with low-fat cream cheese in order to. Now, why did the author do this? To show that it's just as harmful as a bowl full of sugar, right? That means whatever advice that the US Department of Agriculture has given, that's not really working, right? So let's choose one of the answers which actually makes sense with our pre-thinking. 1. Show that getting a nutritional breakfast can be fast and convenient. Okay, we were not really talking about fast or convenient over here. We're talking about health aspects, so this is not going to be my answer. Second one, demonstrate that carbohydrates are the ideal nutrient. Again, there's no ideal nutrient, and if carbohydrates were to be the ideal nutrient, why would we compare it with a bowl of sugar in a negative connotation? So second one will not be my correct answer. Third one, overturn the notion that a carbohydrate-based breakfast is necessarily healthy. Yes, a bagel could be a bagel is a carbohydrate-based breakfast, and it is not shown to be really healthy, right? So this could be one of the things that the author is giving the example for. Fourth one, persuade readers that they should eat eggs and sausage for breakfast. Again, nowhere in the passage are we saying that you should eat eggs and sausage, although yes, one might interpret that these are high protein, high fat kind of a breakfast. See, the author is not pushing for a high protein, high fat. He's saying that we need to watch it closely, we need to study it closely, and then we could probably talk about it. So definitely that's not why we have talked about a bagel with low fat cream cheese. The best reason that why we have talked about a bagel is to overturn the notion that carbohydrate based breakfast is healthy, right? So the best possible answer is 3. Now let's go to the question number 3. The author of this passage would most likely agree with which statement? Okay, so what is in line with the author's thought process? The federal government knowingly gave the public misleading advice? No. Again, the author is not blaming. The author is asking why did they give it? Okay, the author is not blaming that yes, you knew you were saying something wrong and that's why you've done it. In fact, the author even gave reasons, no, that after 1950s and during the 1950s, there's a lot of heart disease and all, because of which the federal government had to give these kind of guidelines. So he's not blaming them. So this is not matching in tone. Second one, soaring obesity rates are most certainly a result of low fat diet. Now again, the author might agree that soaring obesity rates are most certainly a result of high carb diets. Okay, but would he agree with low fat diets? We were not really sure. So I'm just going to keep this aside for now. But this might not be the best possible answer. See, nutritionists should promote high-fat protein diets like the Atkins diet. Again, the author is not promoting this diet. The author is saying that we need to study this closely to understand how things would be. So far, all we have is anecdotal evidence. So, this may not be what the author agrees with. Fourth one, there's no definitive evidence containing dietary fat to heart disease. Now, yes, obviously the author is very, very clear that we don't have clear evidence why fat is bad for the heart. Obviously, you are telling me that there are certain fats which are good also. So, why are you banning all fat? So, the author might be most willingly agreeing to the fourth one. So, that will be our best possible answer. Now, let's go to the fourth question. The tone of the last sentence of the passage is one of. So, what is the last sentence of the passage? The last sentence of the passage is what's clear is that Americans are awaiting answers, and in the meantime we need to eat something. Yes. So the author has been talking about what is the right thing to eat throughout the passage. Yes. But since we do not yet have an opinion on what's the right thing to eat, we do not have the data on what's the right thing to eat, he's saying that okay, but in the meantime we have to eat something. So that's very ironical. Okay, definitely not optimism or indulgence, that there's no resolve involved, so it's definitely going to be irony. Okay, now that you watched the video till here, please do not forget to hit that like button and share this video with a friend who is preparing for CAT 2025. I'll see you in the next video.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.